Hi guys, this is Sunday morning. It's the 10th of October. So I just want to cover, I guess, kind of a couple of things really. So just seen a message actually from Mike in the Discord channel with two potential options, and yeah, I'm 100% with both of those if I'm honest. I think the overall play for me is if I go back to the post I was posting in March, as I've just posted into the channel now. The call for March was this was actually a weekly three, down for a weekly four, and up for a weekly five. So projections on that could easily run into this kind of level. But the problem I have is just identifying, this sitting in here. There's a big question mark there as to, what it actually done. This was almost textbook down to the 1618 ABC zigzag, perfect, great. Um, Question mark obviously comes in around this level. So, you know, I, I think for me, I just want to reiterate, I always get kind of DM'd in the group about, have you seen this analysis? Have you seen this person? You know, for me personally, guys, I've been doing this 21 years. I don't really look at anybody else, out there as to what they're doing, what they're suggesting. Um, on a couple of occasions that I have actually gone and looked and videos that people have sent me, I've seen certain things where they've tried to justify, a three move here. They've also said this is a three move, and I just don't feel that. I think for me, there's a three and a five in there that I can easily quantify, and therefore, with that being said, just kind of forget that for now, right? This is just question mark. Now, clearly, there was some kind of impulsiveness here, and that's the bit that I really want to focus on. So I'm just going to ignore, kind of everything prior to this, right? I'm happy with what's happened. It's now this becomes the question mark. So, let's just put some kind of common sense to this. If we take a low, come back down and back for the two, now we clearly have to, look at where these levels are, the 1618 and the 2618. Okay, so therefore, if we were to assume that this leg up could have actually just finished, it doesn't really give me confidence that if this was now indeed the three and this was actually the four, then we've now got our five basically in. Okay, now this is quite concerning in terms of the current situation, and that is, a potential option. Now, although the idea of the Elliott is for this to move up, is nothing to say that we have to take out those previous highs. This could easily be a failed move, and then we come down for now what I would regard as being potentially that monthly three, or this being the monthly three. You've got then the potential for the four move to come, all the way back down. I know that's one of the options that Mike has just mentioned there, as a whole. It could just be the fact that this was the monthly three, and therefore we're only seeing the leg down being the A, the push up now giving us the B, and we're actually going to see a C down here or even lower overall. So there's a couple of variations on this. When you start looking at the expanded flats and the running flats and this and the other, I think for me, it just comes back to not really caring too much as to where we are right now. I'm looking at the big picture. I'm looking at the roadmap. I'm assessing these kind of key levels. And I think I've just put this one back on. So I'm assessing the key levels. And the one thing for me that makes me feel that this could now turn into the monthly three with a monthly four is that we can see some key levels going back, weeks, if not months, as to what I was actually looking at back then. So we've got something interesting. I know I've shared this in the subscriber section within Discord. So we've got some clusters sitting around this level. There's clearly one around this 618, sorry, the 4618. There was an awful lot of noise around the current situation and an awful lot of noise around the 40k mark. So there's key areas that I'm interested in, but it's now just a question of tagging, 59. We could come all the way up to 67, which is what I've talked about in more recent streams. Composite Man really playing the bastards game and ultimately screwing retail over just as everybody starts to get their feet under the table, thinking this is off to 100,000. So, a couple of options there and a couple of likely scenarios. We then have, what else we've got in here? We've got some key levels, which again, I'm going to just put some key levels in around here. So we've got this one here. I probably shouldn't have got rid of the extension then. Key level there. We've actually got GAN, which takes me back again to March. This was done, based off the previous highs and lows. And you can see that in recent weeks we've been very respectful. Probably a little bit of FOMO in there, causing this to kind of come out of the lines. But actually, we've used these lines as support and resistance on several occasions, and we can clearly see that it's actually started to become pretty respectful in the GAN scheme of things. So I'm just going to delete these ones, make the charts a little bit clearer. Next thing we have, I'm just going to come back down, get rid of the GAN. We're going to look at the step levels. Again, there's a step level sitting in this. I'm just going to highlight this one. I think we might have even just tagged that one. I'm going to use this. I'm moving up a little bit there. What else do we have? We've then got the point and figure. So this is an interesting one. Now, the point and figure forecast, based obviously on a different chart, different style chart. This is something that's quite fascinating, is that they clearly had a target up and around this key level as a whole. And as you can see, we're starting to cluster quite nicely in and around this level. So there's GAN, there's the point and figure, there's the fib extensions, the fib retracement, there's liquidity pockets and pools sitting there. We've actually got a master pattern formation sitting in there just underneath it as well. So I'm just going to stick that in as another line. What else do we have? We then have a key channel. You'll actually see, going back from the 29th of August, you'll actually see a move up with a 5 extension, but we are actually at the 50% marker. So again, kind of makes sense for maybe a little bit of a slow grind up before we get a decent move back down. And I think if we get this move now rather than the all-time high, I'd probably like to convert my thinking that this was actually the monthly 3, and we've actually seen an A, a B, followed by a C, giving us a monthly 4 back down lower. I'd like to see, there's nothing stopping it being, 100% of. However, I would like to see that a little bit lower, giving us a slightly deeper move down. I'll come into that in a second based on the point and figure levels now. What else do we have? We then have the weekly forecast, and as I've mentioned before, if this was the weekly, then this is my move, this is my call, back up to around 85. I think that sentiment has changed kind of regardless. I think 72 is probably my ceiling before the move down, but I would like to assume that if this is now the monthly 3 rather than the weekly 3, then I think we still in a zigzag move down monthly 4, and that's what I'm looking at overall. So I think really that's what I'm seeing right now. That's what I'd like to spend a bit more time kind of analyzing, and then I'll come back in the next couple of days with I suppose, a bit more insight as to whether or not I now feel comfortable this being a 4 monthly. I'll keep then the projections for the Discord channel and obviously for the subscribers first, so you guys get the information kind of up front. What else do I have to look at? So the current Weiss situation, move from here down up. So yeah, I think for me, there's going to be a question mark as to whether or not, let's see what the symmetry looks like on this. Date and time is going to come from there to there, and I'm going to use this to copy this. So yeah, I think for me, even at 100%, we're only looking at the all-time high for the extension 5 in the best case scenario. So the more and more that I'm seeing this, the more and more I think this is now more likely to be a nice drop down from here. We probably got the stochastic in the overbought situation. Yes, that's obviously overbought there on this one. Let's come out to the weekly time frame. Yeah, I think on the weekly time frame, we probably dropping down quite low. Again, on this, we got plenty of room to come down. So yeah, I think the next question is just going to be the projections, and I'm going to leave that, like I said, for the subscribers channel, and then I'll put it out to everybody else, probably next week at some point. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the weekend.